I promised you that I would bring in an amazing guest, and his new documentary on Salem Now I guess it's a movie. It's absolutely amazing. And I think that there's nothing that my next guest has put out on the market, has presented, that haven't been absolutely life changing. I mean, every single movie, documentary that I've seen from my next guest has been absolutely off the chain. And so you guys already know who I'm talking about. Welcome, Dinesh D'Souza.
Hey, thank you. Great to be with you. And I remember you coming to some of our early screenings, going back to the earlier
Yeah.
films, and I'm also very excited about the new one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Dinesh, I want you to talk to the audience about, if they haven't even seen the commercial, because I've seen them, the commercials on Police State. So can you talk to us about Police State? What was the mission behind creating this? And what do you want us to get out of this information that is being revealed through what you've put together?
Well, the basic question at the heart of the film is America ceasing to be, stopping from being a free society? Are we moving toward becoming a police state? Now, this is a almost a preposterous question. I don't think we could have, with a straight face, asked it 3 years, 5 years ago. But we have seen such a steep fall from the America that we grew up in, from the America that I came to as a teenager, as an immigrant. So many of our basic rights have become seriously threatened. Our free speech rights, our rights to religious liberty and conscience, our right to assemble, to petition the government for grievances, even equal rights and equal justice under the law. So I want to wake people up to the fact that at this rate, we will be a full fledged police state in very short order.
And I think that that's not very far fetched if people have been paying attention. I mean, we've seen the way they've treated in the FBI's close circles of investigations. They've treated American citizens who were just petitioning at the school board meeting, or people who have gone into and on January 6th, many of them not even doing anything, but they're deemed as terrorists. And the attack on Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago, it's questionable to me. Like, I don't know if there's legitimacy there or not, but I have never seen anything like this in the history of this country, or at least since I've been alive. I mean, we've seen Biden with information in his house. We see that the Vice President Pence had some documents in his house, but I have never seen a full-scale SWAT type of a incident happen at Mar-a-Lago when it appears that Donald Trump was already complying. So that's one example of, it seems as if they're militarizing or politicizing the federal government.
Yeah, to put a little context on it, let's think about police states around the world, places like North Korea, China, the old Soviet Union, and ask what did those places have in common? And then let's think about which of those things are now present in the United States. So, police states typically have mass surveillance, they have systematic censorship, they have indoctrination, ideological indoctrination in schools and in the media. They tend to be one party states. They tend to go after the opposition, lock up the opposition leader. Not to say they don't have elections, Iran has elections, but they don't allow effective opposition. Police states tend to undermine religious liberty. They tend to have political prisoners. So, hey, as I go down the list, I say, whoa, every one of these elements can now be seen to one degree or another right here in the United States. So when somebody asks me today, are we still a free society? I hesitate. I'm reluctant to say no. I've been a rah rah American, an immigrant all my life. I wrote a book called What's So Great About America, but I cannot, in all good conscience, answer yes either.
Wow, that's very interesting. You know, Dinesh, I wonder, are we in an inevitable position that we will lose America? Or is there hope for us to regain this to some degree? Because it appears that they have infiltrated many aspects of our society to the point of no return. I mean, the college system is breeding communists and lunatics in by and large, because there's some universities that are doing good jobs, right? There's Christian universities, there's some that are fair and balanced, some professors are doing what they're supposed to do even at these liberal colleges, but generally speaking, it seems like kids are going into college and coming out dumber than they were before they went in, even all the way down to elementary school. rhetoric and education and indoctrination. How do we get out of that? We can't, the way our society is operating, we can't homeschool every kid in America. Maybe we could try, but these systems are in place and our kids are going to have to go to these schools. Maybe not mine, but other people's kids may have to go to these schools. And how do we overcome this?
Well, you begin by fighting the police state where you can and where you can be most effective in doing it. And it's not a matter of doing one thing. So, for example, some people think, well, if we get Trump back in the White House, that will solve the problem. Well, that will solve some problems because if Trump gets back in the White House, he's going to say, all right, I'm going to remake the whole FBI from the top to the bottom. I'm going to dismantle some of these other institutions that are in the executive branch. But on the other hand, there are other things that are going on that can only be stopped by the Supreme Court. So there's a big case called Missouri versus Biden making its way to the court. The court has already taken the case, but they're not hearing it until next spring. That's when they'll give their decision. Now, there are millions of people who are being censored right now. Unfortunately, the court has said there are millions of people who can continue to be censored between now and the next 6 months, but they are going to take the case. And they will have an amazing opportunity to give one massive drop kick to government-sponsored censorship. Now, again, it doesn't end censorship completely because YouTube can still censor and Facebook can still censor, but it would remove the grubby paws of the federal government from the censorship process. And that alone represents progress. It's not the end of the fight, but it is a success at the beginning of the fight.
I'm glad to hear you bring that case up, and that's something that I've been concerned about. You know, obviously being a social media influencer and being online and hearing about how the federal government was involved with Twitter and some of these other platforms, telling them what to take down, what to eliminate, in a sense of propaganda. It wasn't just a difference of opinion or false opinions. It's that they did not want that voice to be heard online or propagated to the masses. They wanted only one subject matter, and even suppressing information about Hunter Biden's laptop and a lot of other things that I think was absolutely horrific. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Dinesh D'Souza. The new movie, Police State, is out and available on Salem now, and we'll get to that point here in a second. Dinesh, do you think that this matriculates down to municipal police? Because we see the police state somewhat on the federal government being run and controlled. Do you think that the police departments in our communities and counties are cowardice enough to allow the government to then put pressure on them to do some of the local surveillance and act on their behalf in a way that we think is unconstitutional?
Well, I think what often happens is the federal government recruits the local police and gives them an operational task. So the federal government is not going to be able to say to the local police, hey, we're trying to round up our political opponents, so, we need your help to do that. They won't say that. What they'll say is that, on Cedar Street, there is this 56-year-old grandmother, and we need to have her arrested and brought into custody. And we realize it's kind of distasteful, but you don't worry about what she did, and you don't worry about whether she's guilty or innocent. We just need your operational help in carrying out this raid at 5:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So you're going to be part of our team that kind of kicks in her apartment, and you are going to cooperate with us in getting this done. So what happens is, from the ordinary cop's point of view, it's like, okay, well, I've been given a task. I've been given an assignment. I want to be a good cop. I want to be seen as one of the boys. I want to be part of a successful program. I don't want to be a troublemaker. I certainly don't want to upset the people in charge. So you see here how very normal human motives. I want to get along. I want to do a good job. I want to get a bonus. I want to be recognized. I want to retire with a pension. All of these come into play. And this is the way in which evil people at the top, or a police state, gets good people to do bad things.